Rebellion here. We're going to go over, I found this pretty cool video of Matt Harvey and Noah Syndergarrd throwing next to each other in spring training this year. And Harvey's just coming off of thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, and a Tommy John in 2015. Also, Syndergaard had some um, bone spurs in his elbow this past season, and I'm going to go over what I see in these bullpens, and um, it's kind of obvious when I'm going to talk about this stuff and show you this, but again, spring training, they're just feeling themselves out. They are on the mounds for not the first times, but definitely not like mid-season form and warmed up properly. But again, I I played 6 years in the minor leagues, and I know that when my mechanics were in spring training were better than my mechanics when I was tired, obviously, and had some starts and innings underneath my belt. So I'm thinking that their movements are only um, are going to get worse than better. Okay, so um, spring training isn't kind of like uh, the spring training it was back in the day when when you come to spring training to get loose and to get fit. Spring training, you're trying to come in and show these managers and these coaches, what you're all about. So I'm going to go through the video here, and there's some different views that I'm gonna shift to and stuff. So stay with me. And on the first one, we're just gonna watch Harvey throw, okay? Because they're kind of simultaneously going, and I'm just gonna kind of pick out what I see, okay? So on the first one, we're going to watch Harvey, and I like the way he drives his lower half. So he does move towards the target, but again, Harvey is a guy. Both of these guys are big, strong dudes, and Harvey's a guy that he's always had this hip issue to me ever since he got the Tommy John surgery and before that. So I'm going to show you as he goes down the mound. I really like the way he gets his lower half energy, but he never opens up his hip. Okay, so as you can see, his knee straighten out. All right, but what I would like to see is this knee kind of roll towards the ground and let his back foot, all right, do the same thing along with his hips. So you'll see as he gets into foot strike, the ball is up in the air, okay, but his hips aren't open at all, right? You can see that his back foot is not rotated, his knee is not rotated, and his belt buckle is facing pretty much towards third base. All right, we'd like to see that belt buckle really open up, so that you're creating that good separation, but also that rubber band effect, of now when he starts to go forward through his throw. He doesn't have much external rotation, so a guy throwing that hard, man, you're putting a lot of stress on the small parts of his elbow and shoulder, all right, instead of just using his big strong body. And you can also tell how his knee just keeps creeping forward, all right, which tells me that he's not using the proper muscles to brace up his lower half. So again, as Harvey of old, his back foot comes off the rubber before the ball is out of his hand. Now, I didn't do a breakdown of Matt Harvey, but I did do one of Noah Syndergaard, and I see inconsistencies in a lot of the Mets, not just Harvey and Syndergaard. So in my breakdown with Syndergaard, I mentioned that stuff as um, his his movements aren't very repeatable. So we're going to move on to, again, Syndergarrd. As Harvey finishes his throw also, you can see his hand as he kind of comes through the ball, right? I'm going to start calling this little league leg, because I see a lot of little leaguers bringing this knee up to gain more momentum through his throw. And again, he's a guy that was throwing, you know, top 98, all right, and averaging 94 and 95. And now I think he's just trying to find his velo again, and he's trying to overthrow a little bit, so his finish suffers from it. Again, his hand opens up, back foot comes up, knee comes up, just trying to get extra velocity, and man, he just tightens up and tenses up through the throw. Now we're going to go to Syndergarrd, and again, I don't think on this throw, okay, so you can watch these guys back here as well. They're not paying attention. I think this is his last throw of his warm-up throws. So again, I'm looking at these throws and I'm trying to like figure out how I used to feel when I would throw a bullpen, and it wasn't like I wasn't trying to go 100 miles an hour or 100%, sorry, when I was throwing my bullpens. You're trying to feel your body, and even if you are going like 75, 80%, you're still going pretty, moving down the hill at a good speed. So I think on this last warm-up pitch, you'll see Syndergarrd doesn't get his arm up in time. He's into the ground, braced up, and you'll see his front knee. He has a little bit of a similar reaction when he starts to come forward through his through his throw. And again, Syndergarrd also doesn't get very good external rotation through his throw. Again, these guys are big and strong, and they have tight muscles. All right. And I think this is a big culprit in why these days that we're seeing a lot of injuries, because it has to do with off-season workouts and getting stronger and bigger instead of just naturally being strong and moving properly, which you saw back in the old days of Satchel Paige, and they didn't really worry about working out necessarily. They were just basically country strong and or strong just naturally. So I think we should get back to that. But moving on, okay. You see Noah Syndergarrd right here kind of tell him, hey, I'm ready. Okay, and this guy's charting pitches. All right, so he's going to basically chart Noah Syndergaard's pitches, so that tells me that he's ready to start ramping it up. All right, so again, we're going to go back to Harvey, and you're going to see a lot of the same stuff as he gets into the ground, okay, and he starts to open up. I think right here he's into the ground, and he's even more opening, all right, here, and you can see his 33 going towards Syndergarrd this time, all right, which puts himself into an even worse position, so his external rotation lacks even more, and you see that knee pop up through his finish, and that's something that's that's alarming to me, because I don't know Matt Harvey, but I never want to say that a guy is not going to be sustainable, especially through his velo and through the year of being healthy, but these movements that he's creating here in spring training are not looking promising. Okay, so we're going to move on to Syndergarrd and how he kind of goes into moving faster. I think you'll agree with me. He's a guy that throws really, really hard, but again, I don't think he gets a really good movement down the mound. He doesn't get as good as a back leg as Harvey does. But what he does is he's better into foot strike. So he uses his posture change. So you can see the Mets go up into the sky, all right, at this point right here, as he's into foot strike, and the ball's at 90 degrees. And from here, all right, you'll see on this one is he's a little bit better with bracing up his knee at this time, okay? So he braces the knee up, or I should say, lets his hips rotate all the way through. All right, and you'll see that hip kind of come up and over. All right, that tells me that again, he's not using his lower half as good as he can. Okay, so he's a little bit late into the brace up period because you can see the ball here and his knee still kind of flexed. Okay, so we're going to move on to the side views of these guys, and we'll move on to Syndergarrd on this one. Okay, is as he starts to go, he's going to move into foot strike, and you can see again that his knee kind of goes out of the frame, close to out of the frame, and doesn't brace up at all through the finish. We'll go to Harvey again on this one, and again, I like the way he drives his hips and knee down the hill, but he never gets that foot open. So even like when he's at foot strike, he's trying to open it, but it's just not letting him because that back foot is he has cleats on and he's really driving into the ground, which again makes his knee come forward and I talk about the little leg syndrome, or little league leg, and I see just kids that aren't using their body mass and their strength properly do this exact move. Okay, and again on this one he doesn't get all the way through again to his back, and what I would like to see is to see his hand on the other side of his back on this side. I talk about like dry firing a bow and arrow. If you do that too many times, you're compromising the strength of the bow and arrow, and it'll break over time. So on this next one, it kind of fades into Syndergarrd, and I'm sorry that I'm jumping all over the place, but you'll see, and I'm trying to make a point here, is when you watch these guys, and even in their spring training debuts and their games, it's not like the season games, but you're trying to find your rhythm and movements, and that's where I don't think they don't they don't think about it. They're not cognizant of what they're doing with their body in these bullpens. And again, this guy back here is charting all his pitches, and basically Noah's just doing what he's been doing since he was a young kid. Is throwing hard, and he's developed over time the ability to throw strikes with the way that he moves. Okay, so again, on this one, you'll see is that it's a better movement with his catapult-like move towards the direction of the catcher. So watch how you'll see the ball coming out of his hand here. Okay, you'll see the ball here, but watch his knee. Okay, his hips brace up, and he doesn't move forward. He lets his hips roll up and over that front part of his leg. All right, and that's the way that he needs to think about finishing every time. All right, to stay healthy. And I mean that's a really good looking finish. And then you'll see on this last one, again Harvey lets his leg brace up here, lets his front leg brace up, but still bringing that back foot up. And I think that's a big culprit of what is going to hurt Harvey this year. And then on the last one, Syndergarrd again goes back to as he gets into front foot strike. All right, not bad with positioning that he's in. He's throwing a changeup here, but again, you'll see his knee as he lets go of the ball. Okay, I can see the ball right here. All right, his knee kind of just keeps more moving forward, and then at the end, to where the ball's almost halfway there, then he's bracing up. So it's a late brace up and letting that back hip come a little bit forward, and not using that lower body correctly. So again, this has been a cool little video that I came across, and down in spring training, these guys are down there. They work hard. They're not thinking about getting hurt or really anything other than kind of throwing strikes and being a competitor that they are. So again, I think that it should be something that is looked into a little bit more. Is videotaping these guys and getting these guys on tape and evaluating themselves, and having someone evaluate them with them, instead of kind of just saying, oh, I look good and I look big and good in those cleats. My finish looks great. Look at the whole picture, because from throw to throw, like you see here, is it's a different movement, it's a different picture, right? And to help themselves create better movements and better pitches, inevitably crisper, off speed, faster fastballs. That's what needs to be done. It's not necessarily get out there, finish, yeah. That's what you hear big league pitching coaches say. Okay, so that's my outlook on not just the Mets and Noah Syndergaard and Harvey. I'm not picking on them. It's my outlook on pitching in the major leagues and minor leagues in general, and how it should be something that is moving into a change instead of going into I need to throw harder. Okay, if you properly move your body, you will throw harder. So hopefully these guys get to listen to what I have to say. I'm not sure if they would ever get in touch with me, or look up what it is we do. But I would be very excited if I ever got to work with some caliber guys, just like Syndergarrd and Harvey and those guys down in spring training. So, yep. This has been Dave Shinsky at Baseball Rebellion. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.